Hi, first grade families and friends. This is Miss Burns here, and I have your lesson for week 3 of Teleschool Day 4. So this week we've been working on adding two-digit numbers, and we learned how to do that using objects and drawings, and we started talking about how to do that with regrouping. We're going to continue doing that today, but instead of adding one-digit to two-digit numbers, today we're adding two-digit numbers to two-digit numbers with regrouping. And here's our strategy. We're going to be able to do this by using objects to add a two-digit number to a two-digit number with regrouping. So before we jump into the math, let's make sure that we really have an understanding of what regrouping is. When we regroup, all we're doing is taking 10 ones and trading them for a 10. We know that 10 ones and a 10 are the same. For example, let's say I have all of these ones here, and I want to know if I can regroup them and trade them to make a 10. Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 ones. And when we regroup, we take 10 ones and put them together to make a 10. Well, I've set my 10 ones on the top up in an invisible 10 frame, and I can actually trade those or swap them out for a 10. So now I'm trading these 10 ones, I'm getting them out of my way, and trading them for a 10. I still have 13. It's just that now I have 1 10 and 3 ones instead of 10 ones and 3 ones. Every time you regroup, you're just looking to make a 10. Okay, so now let's review what this is going to look like, and then we'll start jumping into problems. For the last 2 days, we've only been working with adding two-digit numbers and one-digit numbers. And we said that we set up our problem vertically, that's up and down, just like we would when we're adding without regrouping. And our next step is to show our ones and show our tens. Then we're going to add our ones and see if we can regroup and trade to make a 10, and then we'll add our tens together. We're going to show them. If you can find 10 ones to regroup and make a trade, you'll go ahead and do that, making sure that we cross out or get rid of those 10 ones that we traded. Today we're moving on to adding two-digit numbers plus two-digit numbers. Our process is exactly the same. It's just that now we're going to have some more digits that we need to work with. So we have to be careful when we set up our problems. So let's get on to our first problem. And we're using our base 10 blocks today to help us solve. Now I know that you guys don't have base 10 blocks at home. That's fine. This is a great time for you to pull out your homemade base 10 blocks and ones. If you were with me last week, in, let's see, it's week 2, it would be week 2, day 2, I showed you how you can make these, should you need them. Okay, but since I have my base 10 blocks and my ones, I'm going to go ahead and use those. So our first problem asks us, what's 34 plus 26? Notice that I have a two-digit number plus a two-digit number. Each of these has a number or a numeral in the tens place as well as the ones place. So I'm going to write this vertically, that's up and down. That's going to help me show what I know about place value. So I've got 34 plus, that means I'm putting together 26. And I'm going to go ahead and insert my place value chart. By this time, you're like, Miss Burns, I know how to do this. I know I'm going to drop in my place value chart. But I'm going to keep saying it because the more that I say it, the more you're going to hear me talking in your brain as you start solving problems. Okay, today we're using objects to solve these problems. I've set it up so that I've got my two-digit number plus my two-digit number, and now I actually have to use my objects to represent them. So let's start with our first addend, which is 34. Well, 34 is made up of 3 tens, so I'm going to show my 3 tens. 1, 2, 3. And it's also made up of 4 ones. So I'm going to set up my 4 ones, and remember we're doing this inside of an invisible 10 frame. That's going to help us when we look to regroup. Now I'm taking a look at my second addend. My second addend, or number I'm adding, is 26. 26 is made out of 2 tens, 1, 2, and 6 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, keeping those inside of my invisible 10 frame. So I've set up my problem. I've used my objects to show what's happening here. Now I want to check back on my chart and see what my next job is. Well, I've set this up. I've drawn what's on my picture. I've done that with objects. Now I want to add my ones and see if I can regroup and trade to make a 10. Then I'll go ahead and add my 10s together. Let's see. Well, since I've set this up in invisible 10 frames, I'm looking at my 6 here, my 6 ones, and I notice that if I were to add 1, 2, 3, 4 ones to it, I would make a 10. I could regroup and then trade for another 10. So I'm going to look for 4 ones that could go here. Oh, wait a minute. Look, I've got 4 ones right here. Those 4 ones are a part of 34. So I can just move them down here. And now I've regrouped and I've made a 10. If you don't believe me, count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I can't keep 10 ones in the ones place. You can't do that because a group of 10 ones is the same as 1 10. Any 10 belongs in the tens place. So I'm going to trade. I've regrouped, now I'm trading. So I'm going to get myself another 10 and trade it for these 10 ones, making sure I get them out of my way. Okay, now you're saying, wait a minute, Miss Burns. Now I need to add down my place value chart, but 4 plus 6 is 10. But remember, friends, we just swapped out. We traded those 10 ones for this 10 over here. So do I have any ones? Oops, I'm sorry. Do I have any ones left? No. Do I have any ones left on my board? No. They've been traded. So I don't have any ones left. 0. Trying to make it so you can see it a little bit better. Now let's go ahead and add our 10s. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 10s. So 34 plus 26 is 60. Be careful, friends. Once you have shown or represented your add-ins with your objects, use those objects. The numbers might start tricking you. If you were to add down 3 10s plus 2 10s, you would have told me, Miss Burns, there's only 5 10s. Pay attention to the math that you did with your objects. That's going to keep you in control. So 34 plus 26 is 60. I can prove that by counting up all of my 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Awesome. Let's do another one. We're going to clear our board. You can go ahead and do this with me if you have your objects. That would be great. Okay. We've got our problem 17 plus 18. Excuse me. Getting all stuck on my words, friends. It is written horizontally. Horizontally means it's written side to side. I find it more helpful to write it vertically. I'm going to move this way. Give us a little bit more space. When we write things vertically, we're able to trick our brain into saying, hey, use what you know about place value. So I'm going to show my 17 plus 18 vertically. What am I going to drop in next, friends? I know you know it. Yes, drop in that place value chart. T for 10s, O for 1s. Today we're using objects to solve these problems. So I'm going to represent both add-ins, first 17, then 18 using my objects. All right, I'm going to look at my 10s place. How many 10s do I have in the number 17? Just 1, so I'll grab 1 10. How many 1s do I have in the number 17? 7, you're right. Set those up in your invisible 10 frame. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great. Let's look at our next add-in. We have 18. 18 is made up of 1, 10, and 8 1s. Here's my 1 10. And now let me grab my 8 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's go back to our chart. Think about our next step. We've showed our add-ins with objects. Now we need to see if we can add our ones together to regroup and trade. Let's see if we can regroup to make a 10 and then trade those 10 ones for a 10. Well, if I look down here at my 8, I notice that my 8 only needs 2 more ones in order to make a 10. So I'm going to snag these 2 ones from my 7, and I'm going to move them down here. Now, what have we made, friends? A 10, you're right. We've made a 10 by using 10 ones. We have regrouped. Let's trade these 10 ones by 10 ones. You're going to go, but in your place, we're going to grab 110 and we'll plop it with our 10s. Now I can add down my columns. Am I going to add 7 plus 8? No. Look at your objects. Remember that we regrouped our 8 ones with 2 of the ones that were in this 7. We moved them out of the way and traded them for this 10. So we are going to now look at what is left of our objects. What is left of our 7 is 5 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to look at what I have in my 10s column. Am I adding 110 plus 110 and that's it? No. Remember, we had 110 from 17, 110 from 18, but I regrouped all these ones and traded them for a 10. And I have to count that 10. So now I have 1, 2, 3 10s. So 17 plus 18 is 35. And if I go ahead and count my 10s and ones all together, it will be 35. Here we go. 10, 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Okay. Now, friends, your job is to click on the link below the video and try practicing some of these on your own. Let me tell you a little bit of something. If this is still feeling a little bit tricky for you, right below this video is going to be a button that says, "Still confused?" Click on me to go to an iReady video. That link will bring you to an iReady video that's going to walk you through exactly how to use your 10s and your 1s and exactly how to regroup. So if you feel a little bit confused and you're not super confident about this yet, make sure you click on the link immediately below this video, and that will give you some more support with an iReady video. Tomorrow, we're going to be continuing to add 2-digit numbers, and instead of using our objects, we'll go ahead and use pictures. Thanks so much, friends. See you tomorrow.